How are we going, everybody? And a big happy Mother's Day to everyone out there, and mums-to-be as well. Now, I'm in the garden here, and if you're wondering the colour of my beanie, well, thank you, Mel. She took the liberty to knit me a beautiful beanie, which I'm wearing, as you can see now, and my darling wife, well, she did some matching gloves as well, but my wife claimed those there. So thank you. It's going to keep you nice and warm during winter, if it survives it, because you know how rugged I am outside. Now, the raised garden beds, I've been filling these ones up. You haven't seen me do it, and my apologies, I haven't been filming every day. As you can tell, my voice is a little bit hoarse, shouting outside in the garden while it's really cold, so I'm losing it. But anyway, I've done these raised beds. I've filled them up with our planting compost and all the wonderful stuff we do, our Blackridge superfood, you know the lot. And I'm putting the netting over the top of them. Now, I'm going to ask you something. Well, I mentioned it to my videographer there, and I asked him, and I said to him, okay, I'm cheating with these ones. Can you tell how? Can you guys tell how I'm cheating with these ones here? So the way I'm building this, let's put the netting over the top. And while I'm doing that, you try and work it out if you haven't done so already. And then I'll show you what I've done. Lucky I'm tall. Maybe not tall enough. That's about 2.5 meters high there, you know that. And my arms are short, so my body's long. And my wife reckons my torso's long, my legs are short, my back's too wide, and my head's too big. Wrong topic. Anyway, can you work it out? You haven't worked it out. What I'm putting on here is the boxed insect netting, you know that. You've seen it before. But I'm just going to show you a couple of tips on setting up a frame over your netting if you need to, and you haven't got all the materials you need. I'm going to show you an alternative way of doing this as well. First, let me get my head around what I've done wrong here. And that's doubling up on the layers. There we are. There we go. So we've got the 4 corners almost in place. This is a 1.2 by 1.2 netting, and I've used garden stakes, typical hardwood garden stakes, to frame it upwards, the uprights. And on top we've got the builder frame square hollow section, which is powder coated as well, galvanized, so it should last for many years. Now what I haven't done, if you can tell, is I haven't put any cross beams on the builder frame from here to there. I've nailed this into the side of the timber frame, and I've just used a nail gun to do that, just a couple of fixing points. And I've just slid these on top, so they're sitting there just sliding on top, no screws on them at all, folks. And the reason I've done it like that is A, because I ran out of timber and I'm not driving 15 minutes to go and get some hardwood, and B, because the netting itself, it's a netting, air gets through, so it shouldn't grab a lot of wind. Now we've got a bit of wind today, you can see how it's blowing a bit. That's as much as you're going to get, maybe a little bit more, but it's going to put no pressure at all on the framework itself, so you can get away with just 4 uprights rather than having to cut timbers down. That's if you're doing it as a temporary measure, just to protect a small seasonal growth of veggies that you got going there. But if you're going to keep it there permanently, ideally put the cross members in, and if you want to, screw them as well, because there are provisions made so you can insert some screws to fix them to the stakes. Now, doing it without the upright stakes, without the builder frames, not the stakes, you need the stakes obviously, you'll have difficulty draping the netting over the top because there's so many splinters on the hardwood. It's rough sawn, so you've got a lot of burrs and splinters, and dragging the netting up and down can get it caught on some of those splinters and tear the netting away. So putting something like that over the top will help tremendously as far as draping it over and stopping it from snagging. Now, if you don't want to use a builder frame, here's another option. What we have here is 6-way cane connectors, folks. Now, these are the alternative. They just sit straight over the top of bamboo stakes like this here. They've got 6 different holes on them all the way around. Don't look at this one here, it's really dirty because I've had it out in the garden. This is what I've been using for smaller frameworks, and it simply just slides over the top of the bamboo like that. It sits nice and tight. I think there is a hole through one of them if you need to use it as an intermediate piece to join a couple. For example, see, it goes right through like that. You can do that if you like, if you need to, or just sit it on top there. Now, the idea of this is to stop the snagging as well, and obviously join your bamboo frame together. Now, these are a little bit long because these boxes are about 1100 wide, 1100 square, give or take. I haven't got a tape on them, but these garden stakes are 1200. There we are. You can see the difference. So these are 1200 long. I just lined it up to the other end. So it's about 1150 this box, or 1160. So what's going to happen here, because I'm sitting it inside the framework, I'm reducing the overall length and width of it. You can see how it's sitting outwards. That's okay. You can simply do that. It's not going to hurt the frame at all, or even the netting over the top. What you're doing is just creating a little makeshift, if I can get through the mulch, there we are, makeshift frame, so you can just drape some netting over the top, and you don't have to use the insect netting either, folks. You can use a flat piece of netting, because they come in, you know, by the metre, if you like. Local garden centres, most garden centres and hardware stores stock them. We've got them online as well. And you should consider doing this, only because these bloody birds, they really are destructive when it comes into your garden. When they come into your garden and start scratching around, they really get stuck into all the mulch and they splatter it around everywhere, which really disturbs the life in the soil, the worms. I know they're looking for grubs and little creatures like that, but have a look at this. How easy is that? You know, and you can adjust it as well. Now I can actually, you know what? Let's drape the netting over the top and see what it looks like, because it's 1.8 long. Yeah, so that's 1.8 long. And remember, it's off the ground, so I'm not 1.4. All right. Let's see how we go draping this over the top. There we are. Each corner with its bit of the netting. Look at that on top. So that's the benefits of having horizontals. You can get it nice and tight like that. So it's a little bit loose on top, so I might have to do that trip to the hardware store. Now these are only, well, it's only about 1400 off the ground, so this is going to drape down right to the ground, which is not a bad thing. At the end of the day, a real simple, quick and easy way to protect your plants. And you know the other part about this, the netting, even though it's not, you know, like a polyurethane film like a hothouse, I reckon still it will reduce the amount of frost at night if we are, you know, forecast to have frost, to stop it settling on the plants themselves. Because I've got some capsicums in here. I don't think this will be enough to help them overwinter properly, but if it does reduce the amount of frost, you know, we'll give it a go, see how we go, see if they survive, because capsicums, if you don't know that already, they're perennials, they're not annuals. You don't pull them out. I've spoken about this many a times. That will last you up to 5 years if you maintain them through the winter periods, through the colder periods of the months, where they go dormant. So when they start going dormant, like these ones will, as we get colder into the season, or into the colder season, these will drop most of their leaves off, and you may see some die back as well. And if you see that, do not prune them in winter. Just let them be, allow them to go through the whole wintering, and in springtime, we'll come back and watch these little videos, and I'll tell you what you can do to get some beautiful capsicums growing way before everybody else. There you have it. You got your insect netting box. You can use flat ones. Protect your veggies, folks, because it's okay for the birds to come in and scratch around here and there, but when you're making big efforts, and like I am, all the raised beds, the last thing I want to see is all my seedlings dug over and buried under the mulch because the birds have been disturbing the soil. It's okay once they get to this sort of size, because they're large enough, and you can tell already, these only been in here 2 or 3 weeks. They've already established their roots and they've kicked on. As soon as you see growth coming on like that, you know your veggies are well and truly on their way. And this, by the way, if you're wondering, is last year's broccoli. We've been harvesting little broccolinis continuously through these plants, and we've got some other ones over there as well that are forming beautiful heads. So I'm finding even the broccolis, you can keep them for a 2nd and 3rd year. It's fantastic. Yes, I'm still planting some new ones, but I've got some early picking going on here. It's a great way to look after your garden. Check out the insect netting, the builder frames, and the 6-way connectors on our website. Happy Mother's Day to everybody, and enjoy an extra 25% off using the coupon code MUM at checkout there, so you can save bigger discounts on everything we have online. And don't forget to redeem your reward points, folks, because once we move over to the new website, anything left over in rewards will be disappearing. So vasilisgarden.com, from me, Vasili Maresi.